And here are the boys back on ELF Live. Last week, Matt, we were literally live in person. This week on ELF Live, we are not doing it live. This is pre-recorded. We had some technical difficulties, so ELF Live is coming to you slightly delayed. Unfortunately, there is going to be no chat. So if you have anything to say, any things that you don't like that Matt points out today, like the Frankfurt Galaxy, leave them in the comments, okay? Leave them in the comments. I'm going to get to that. Matt, what's going on, man?
I feel a little bit sad. You know, we had such a great weekend together at Fibo. It was amazing, and I'm back here. It's cold, it's wet, it's England. So I'm excited to talk about football to raise my spirits a little bit.
British dreary weather get you right back in there. We got a great show for you guys today, even though it is not live. In a couple minutes, we're going to be interviewing Michael Badejo, new defensive lineman for the Fehervar Enthroners in his first year in the league. We're going to be talking to him in just a couple minutes, so stick around. Then an exciting announcement for the ELF championship game halftime show. Pretty damn cool. Going to be talking about that. And then, Matt, we're going to do a little recap of our Fibo experience. We had a very interesting experience at Fibo. Very, very cool. Also some kind of funny things going on there, huh?
Yeah, it was good fun. I enjoyed it. It was a great weekend, and good to be back in Dusseldorf. I like Dusseldorf a lot.
Yeah, and you and Kyle Kitchens got into a little bit of beef, back and forth beef, which was interesting. We'll talk about that. And then we've got some as seen on social, which I'm really excited for this segment, Matt, because of the Frankfurt Galaxy beef between Galaxy and Bressington. Okay, a new beef for the 2025 season, at least with the media team. And then we're going to go right into our signing center. So, sadly, you guys are not here with us in the chat. Matt, it's just you and me today, brother.
Yeah, it feels a little bit empty, right?
It's a little lonely without some of our guys. Marcus, sorry, man. We missed you last week because we had to go on Saturday, and we're missing you again this week because we're not live. With that being said, let's jump on right into our interview with Michael, a.k.a. Mike Badejo of the Fehervar Enthroners. Now, Mike is coming to us out of Texas right now. Lucas, can you throw on Mike on the screen here? There he is. This man has woken up at what time is it over there, Mike? It's 4 a.m.?
4 a.m., man. 4 a.m. over here. I'm in Texas right now.
Oh, there we go. We're good. My bad. That's a little bit silent.
You can hear me?
Yeah. I got you.
It's 4 a.m. over here.
Can you hear Mike? I can't hear Mike.
You can't hear Mike? I can hear Mike. He's all good. He's up at 4. He's still there. I can see him.
All right, Lucas, can you fix that so I can hear Mike? Mike, unfortunately, I can't hear you. I'm sure you're saying great stuff.
Let me take first question while he sorts that out.
Take first question, Matt.
There we go. So I read that you started off in high school playing quarterback as well as running back, linebacker, defensive line. How the hell does that happen? Because you're a big dude playing quarterback.
Yeah, man. I mean, randomly, I always wanted to be an offensive guy. I didn't want to go to the defensive side of the ball. I just like scoring touchdowns. I like running over people. I like throwing touchdowns. But my high school coach is kind of like, pushed me into, hey, you'll be a baller at defensive line. And, I was just like, man, I'll play both sides. So I was playing quarterback, running back, and defensive line at the same time. And then obviously I transitioned to defensive line and, I made a good career out of it. So, at the end of the day, if they need a quarterback, we got but if they need a quarterback, hey, Wildcat, all that, I'll do it, man.
Are you saying we could see some big Mike in red zone situations? We could see who was the D tackle for Kansas when they threw the little over the top hat? We could see that from you this year?
Oh, you never know. You might have something cooking, man. You just never know.
I like that. I like that a lot. So how was the recruiting process? Obviously, you switched into defensive line.
Yeah.
And then you went to SMU and you went to a few different colleges. How was the recruiting process for you during that? Because a lot of guys, they don't get seen during the recruiting process. So you a guy that had a ton of offers, you a guy that didn't have any offers at all. How did that work?
Yeah, honestly, it's a beautiful thing, man. When you got multiple options, when you really don't know where you want to go. It's a beautiful scenery, and sometimes it can be difficult because it's just like it's not like you have 1, 2, 3 on the table. I was blessed to have about 30, and at that point, I had to sit down with my head coach, Coach James Brown, good guy, and I really didn't know where to go. So we really just narrowed it down to just the Texas schools, kind of stay close home. All my friends and family come to the games and my coaches. So that was a big thing for me. And, SMU was just right down the road, about 20 minutes away. So that was just a perfect fit.
Yeah, and you're a full-time full-time team captain as well, so you clearly made an impact. And then following that, you kind of had some NFL work. You then went to arena football. Professional-wise, you went with Carolina, Seattle, Chicago, and then went into Europe. So for you, what has brought you into Hungary and wanting to play in the ELF? Because you bounced around a few leagues, you've had success, but ELF is different to all of these. But what's attracted you to the Hervine Throners?
Man, honestly, just the fact that everything is just organized. I love being around an
There we go.
organized deal. It's really hard nowadays. Now, just kind of with my experience joining these leagues, and some of these leagues now, they can't maintain, they can't hold on, for a full season. And the fact now ELF is, been doing it for about 3 years now. 3 years.
Year 5, coming into year 5.
We're going on year 5 now.
Behind, man. Shoot, I'm behind. I'm behind. But
Come on, Mike. I know it's early. You're 5.
And that's a good thing, though. At least it's organized, it's going, it's still ongoing, and, already as an American, it's already kind of real tough to get in. It's a slim, little chances to get in. And the fact that, I had the opportunity, to go out here and play in Hungary, man, it's huge for me.
Mike, I got a question. So you played in the GFL last year for Dresden. This is a team that has had a lot of success in that league. And now you're going to the Hervaren Throners, a team that has not necessarily had so much success in the ELF. Does this bring a little extra fire, a little extra motivation for you? Because I look back to last week when we were doing kind of our franchise checks, and I think we gave you guys, it's mostly Matt's fault. I think we gave you guys like 3 wins on the season. If you're mad about that, you blame Matt. That's
yeah.
What does that feel like? Do you have a little extra kind of underdog chip on the shoulder motivation coming into this season? Be like, yo, we're gonna be something different.
Yeah, when it comes to a situation like this, I kind of been here before. When you think about college-wise, I've been in a situation like this when you kind of go in there and you didn't do so well, and you kind of it's baby steps, right? It's baby steps to kind of changing the program. And I like what Coach Mark is doing. I like his mindset. When I was on a phone call with him, and I like Coach Lapp, the D-line coach. I like how he's, his philosophy on how he wants to do things. It's going to be a work in progress, and I'm excited to get out there just to go join the brotherhood. And, just like I said, baby steps, man. It's baby steps.
Yeah,
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Who are you most excited to play against? Which team? Do you have somebody that you got circled?
Well, from what I've been hearing, our rivalry is Prague.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
I'm really excited about that. I take rivalry serious. So
Yep.
I'm real excited about that game. But honestly, like I said, I was at Dresden last year, and 2 of my boys are at Madrid. So I'm really excited about that. Really excited.
Okay.
Really
Hey,
excited.
Mike, I think you upset Matt there a little bit because Matt did a lot of recruiting work for Prague, and he's cringing in his seat right now as you say
know.
that. What do
Yeah.
you got to say, Matt?
I mean, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna talk too much about Prague. I can't give it inner secrets the offensive line you'll be playing at. But I do want to ask you this. I mentioned about you in DMs. Me and you have talked the last couple of days. You've been in Dresden from like a 2 technique all the way up to like a 9 technique. What are we going to see from you this year? Because, you can kind of play a little bit of everywhere. You're a good pass rusher and you're a good run stopper. Are you going to be moving around? Are you going to be more set as a 3 or a 5? Are you going to be playing interior, exterior? What are you saying?
I mean, honestly, wherever they put me at, I'm gonna go to work. I don't mind where they put me at. I feel like I said with the coach, the mindset with Coach Mark. I mean, as we know, bringing in 2 A's as a defensive line, that's a statement that he's trying to bring into in the league. And I just feel like wherever he puts me at, wherever he puts Crenshaw at, at the end of the day, we're gonna go to work. Who knows? You might see me at running back. You think I'm playing? You might see me at running back.
Hey, sack goal for the year? Because a lot of players have goals. You got 5 sacks in 6 games in the GFL. So do you have a sack goal for the 2025 season?
I don't have a number on top of my head, but at the end of the day, you kind of go back to, all right, I had 5 sacks. You want to shoot more than that. And you got a guy, of course, like Kyle. He's been dominating this league. So he, that's a guy that motivates me. Just watching his film. So. Obviously, I want to match his numbers, or go past his numbers. I ain't starting no beef or nothing because that's my guy. He's been doing this thing. So, but his numbers is crazy. So shout out to him.
Careful not to start any beefs on this show. Things can get messy on the show a little bit, man. Is there anybody in the NFL that you kind of model your game after or admire and be like, I like to play like this?
Yeah, most of the time when I'm playing 3-tech, I like Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
I like how he clubs. I like how he fakes the jab inside, comes out. When I'm playing like the 5 or go 6, I like TJ Watt. He's real freaky on what he do, man. But those two guys, I kind of out of my game, out of my skills when it comes to skill sets.
Okay, like that. We'll see a little bit of TJ Watt and Aaron Donald coming out there in the Eastern Division this year. Mike, what I'm looking right here. You were on the Dean's list. You were 4-time honors list. Like, what? First of all, what'd you study in college?
Yeah, man, I got my undergrad in business management, and then I got my master's. I got my MBA in business marketing.
Hell yeah, man. What do you like to do off the football field?
Shoot, I like messing with cars. I like traveling. That's like the biggest thing. I got a Dodge Charger here. Kind of did a lot of work to it, Scat Pack, and then I went ahead and went the electric route. I bought a Tesla. So yeah, man. I'm gonna miss my Tesla while I'm gone, but it's all good. It's all good.
It'll be there waiting for you when it gets back. I like to always ask players this and coaches, basically whoever comes on the show, what does this season have to look like for you to feel like it was a success? What has to happen on the football field, both for you personally and for the Fairbar and Throners? For you to be like, damn, successful year.
I think overall, we got to have communication, right? We got to have the communication there. I think, from last year, playing with Brock, that's a real leader. That's a guy you want on your team as a captain. He knows how to organize things, and that's how we made it all the way to the GFL Bowl. A guy like him, he knows how to organize things. He knows how to put things in certain ways, to where, people want to listen to him, And, obviously I've been talking to Crenshaw as well, a guy that's motivated, a guy that's been there, done that, he has his experience. So chatting with him, he's pumping me up, motivating me as well, but that all comes down to just communication as a whole. And once we all get on the same page, I think we'll just be fine. And I'm saying it's so easy, but, at the end of the day, it's a work in progress, so I honestly think we definitely do have something special going on. Like I said, Coach Mark, his mindset, that's what really reeled me in and pulled me in to pull the trigger like I'm coming, like quick, so we got something coming, man. We got something coming.
There we go. Matt, you got some more questions for Mike?
I want to say something so bad.
I mean, right. So obviously my trade is scouting and whatnot, but some players, they disagree with my reports, right? And I'm going to give a little bit of a report on you later in the show, but tell me what your evaluation report is on Mike. What are we expecting to see from you this season?
From me?
Yeah, what's your evaluation report? If you're looking at your game, everything that you've had in your career, what's the evaluation report?
I think big time, you're just going to see a guy that's electric, man. A guy that's just going to keep getting off the ball. A guy that's going to keep playing like his fourth quarter, at the first quarter. I'm very electric, man. At the end of the day, you got to keep balling until, the wheels fall off. That's kind of how my coach told me in high school and college. So, shoot, I don't want to get off the field. I hope I don't get off the field. And if I do, it might be one play I'm getting back in there. So,
high motor fourth down lineman. That's what we like to see.
There we go.
Stay on that field, man. Conditioning, man. Conditioning. That's all it takes.
Yeah, we love that high motor, high effort type football player, man. I mean that's something that you can't really teach, man. You either got it or you don't. You just play hard. All right, last question. This is a hard one. Talking about your motor here. All right, what's something, and maybe there's nothing. What's a part of your game that you would like to work on this year that you would like to improve?
A part of my game, honestly, I feel like it's a bit of everything. I'm a guy that's never satisfied. There's always room for improvement. So when it comes to the run block, when it comes to pass rush, obviously, I think this year what I really want to work on more is getting those strip sacks. We work on that all the time in practice. But when it gets to real time game, I'm just quick. I just want to knock the quarterback head off, But at the end of the day, I want to knock his head off while stripping that ball out, get it 2 for 1, So that's my biggest thing. I just feel like it's all improvement with everything in the game.
I love that, bro. It's so hard when you see that quarterback and you get a chance to kill him. It's just like, oh, you got to think last second. Oh, go for the strip too. It's hard. It's so hard, bro.
Yeah, man. So that's one thing you got to try. You'll see a lot. I'm gonna throw my hand in there a lot.
Hell yeah. All right. Matt, you got any last questions for Mike?
I'm all good. I appreciate it, Mike. Good to
There
see
we
you. Me
go.
and you've been talking the last couple of days, so I feel like
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
got to know each other good well.
I appreciate
All
y'all,
right.
man.
There we go. Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
Later, brother.
There we go. What a guy.
He's great on the camera, bro. He's fun to talk to.
I like him. I think he's going to do well in this league. I'm excited to talk to him some more.
Yeah, so do I, dude. I like his attitude too. I like his perspective. And man, I think he might be bring some electricity out there to the enthroned. Hey man, they might win more than those 3 games that we predicted.
They might
What do you
He's
think,
got a little
man?
bit of pop, right? He's got a little bit of that edge. I like him. I like him a lot.
Dude, I love it when we talk to somebody, like do a little interview, whether it's in person or here on the internet. And afterward, I feel like, damn, I'm kind of pumped up, man. I've got a little, yeah, he had good energy.
Yeah, because not everyone's good. Me and you have talked extensively. Not everyone's good at doing interviews, but Mike's a good interviewer.
Hey man, some people don't like to bring it on the interviews. All right, so there we have it with Mike Badejo. Now I said his name exactly how he didn't want me to. All right, moving on. Next segment, some big news for the ELF championship game. The halftime show is going to be performed by German hip hop legends. Matt, I know you're excited about this. This is a huge German hip hop fan. Die Fantastischen Vier, also known as the Fanta 4 or the Fanta Fear. And this is pretty big deal. They're pretty big time. They're from Stuttgart. They formed in Stuttgart in 1989. Matt, that's before you're born. That's before even I was born. And I'm like an old guy, bro. And they're kind of talked about as kind of true pioneers of German language hip hop and sort of one of the first groups to bring German rap into the mainstream. We've got them to thank because there's some pretty cool German rap songs that I like. So they are going to be performing at the ELF halftime show in Stuttgart, which is incredible, seeing as they are from Stuttgart, sort of a homecoming performance for them. And we have to give you the information right there. Good job, Lucas. That the performance is not going to be on the field. It's going to be actually up there live in the stands, up close and personal. So you're not going to be looking at this all the way, 50, 60 yards away from the field. It's going to be right there in the stadium seating there. So you're going to be up close and personal. It'll be really cool. So if you've got any interest in that, which you should be getting your tickets to be part of ELF history for the championship game in Stuttgart, for the Fanta Fear performing at the halftime in Stuttgart. Matt, hey, you gotta brush up on your Fanta Fear music because we're gonna be at that game, bro.
Yeah, I think I do. I got some German songs. I'm an international guy. I've got songs from everywhere, so I have some German songs. But Fanta, they're gonna have to be on the repeat a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. I want to see you rapping along with some
Oh,
of the
really?
songs that have
Oh,
okay?
that might be a
In
challenge.
German,
Yeah.
all right, with the perfect pronunciation too. None of this British accent stuff, okay, when we're doing our German rap. All right, so that's big news. So you guys make sure if you are interested at all, get your tickets to the ELF championship game. Matt, you and I were at the ELF championship game last year. Incredible experience. We talk about it as one of our favorite weekends of our life. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it.
So we will see you guys all there. All right, moving on. Next segment, Matt, we are back from, let's call it an intense weekend at the Fibo. I mean, we produced a lot of content, and shout out to our producers, Maxie and Lucas, who are really the unsung heroes of this whole thing. Here you guys can see a little bit of recap of some of the shots and impressions from the Fibo. But man, it was intense. It was awesome. We got to talk to a lot of people. Matt, what are your biggest takeaways now that you've had a few days to sit back and kind of digest what we experienced there?
I think it was the people. Like, I'm over here. I'm not in Germany, so I don't get to talk to a lot of the guys that I talk to online every day, like you and like Maxi and like Lucas and then like Laney and then Marcel Dabo and Carl Kitchens. Me and him talk often, and so many guys that I got to meet maybe sometimes for the first time, and I love it when it's just that instant connection. You just talk like you know each other for 5-10 years. Katrina as well did an amazing job when you were sick. So I mean, you couldn't get into it, but she filled
incapacitated.
Yep, she filled in amazingly. She actually studied in Bristol, so like that was an immediate connection. So it was great to meet a lot of these people, and I think that's what made it for me. Was just, it's the people around you during the journeys, Nick. That's what they say, right?
There you go, man. Damn, you dropping some deep wisdom, emotional wisdom on me on this Friday Friday at noon. One of my favorite parts, obviously, all that I'm with you on all of that. Seeing everybody, seeing all of the work that goes into, even just like producing the franchise checks that we did. I mean, you and I are lucky enough we just get to sit down on there and talk about the teams, but all the stuff that goes into it and actually producing something like this that looks pretty nice. And that's a huge thanks to Euronics who puts all of this on and makes it possible. And it's cool to be able to be a part of that. And we get to see like you right there, Matt. You look like you're on ESPN talking right there.
Exactly right. And about a certain topic that me and you got to talk about as well, first and foremost.
Yeah, absolutely. But one other thing is one of my favorite things from the weekend also was your interview with Kyle Kitchens, because you two were going back and forth all the time. You guys have completely different perspectives on ELF football, on players. What was Kyle's most outrageous claim, or where you guys are the furthest away from each other on agreeing on something?
Oh man, honestly, like the interview was fantastic, but like
Great.
the pre-interview when we were just talking on the train from Dusseldorf to Cologne was
Yep.
insane. Some of the stuff he was spitting was just preposterously poor in terms of like, like I love
my
Carl.
God.
He messaged me afterwards. We got to start a podcast, Matt. Like, and I'm like, first of all, why don't we have a Cooking with Kitchens? They did a Michael Leon with a cooking show. We need a Cooking with Kitchens. But
Oh, yeah.
secondly, we think of it. There was so many takes that he had that were just like insane. I think leaving Jay off the top list, leaving Holmes and Riley and Chad, all of these guys. No offense to any of the three quarterbacks he had on, but Isaiah Weed I wouldn't have as a top three quarterback. Sullivan I wouldn't have as a top three quarterback. Michael Leon, that's his teammate. I'd expect nothing more. But
Sure.
that was probably I'm sorry, Carl, the worst top three list I've ever seen in my 6 years of scouting and 4 years of media. It was something.
We'll call it.
It was.
We'll call it a unique perspective. I will say Isaiah Weed is top 3, if not top 1, most entertaining quarterbacks in the league. I'll give him that because that man is a mystery. You never know what you're going to get. So, and then we did the franchise checks. Let's talk a little bit about the franchise check for the Lions, Matt, because this one I missed. It was on Sunday. I didn't get to do it with you. Let's pull that up right here, okay? And how many wins did you end up giving the Lions?
I gave the Lions, I believe, 4 wins. I believe, if I'm going to, yes, I did. Yeah, so 4 wins.
Okay.
How many did you give them, Nick?
I gave the Lions 0 wins, Matt. Okay, and I think that's pretty accurate. All right,
Is it?
Despite some of the interesting imports that they have, like their DBs. Okay, very, very interesting. That's great. But Matt, you could take a DB out of a game. Okay, like no matter how good your import DBs are, they can be taken out of a game, basically.
Sure.
So what's driving you to give them all 4 wins?
Well, first of all, you say you can take a DB out of the game. That you can do that if there was one, but there's two all-star level DBs. You got one on each side. You're going to move Reese Horn over, or maybe not Reese Horn because they got like 10 receivers out there in Vienna. Say Rashad Still in the Enthroners. You move him left to right. You're going to just pick your poison of which elite corner you want it matched up on, and he ain't going to get the ball on those Prague Lion defenders. And then the offensive line, Nick, 4 E's invested. This is not your granddad's Prague Lions. This is a modern day. I said to someone recently, this is the best team ever fielded in Czech Republic. And they went, I don't know, the 2009 Black Panthers might get... No. No. I don't need to watch 2009 tape on that to realize this is the best team ever fielded in the country.
Well, I grew up and my granddad was always chirping to me about the Prague Lions, okay? And now we're in a new era, apparently, according to Matt Bressington. I have just waded myself into some dangerous territory. I'm like Kyle Kitchens trying to get into a ELF debate with Matt Bressington. I'm going to go ahead and pull back. I retreat, white flag wave, Matt, okay? I'm not going to get into it. But you know who did get into it with you, my friend. Yeah. Let's move on to our As Seen As on Social segment. I love that graphic right there, by the way. Beautiful graphic. As Seen on Social. And let's start off here with the Frankfurt Galaxy. Yeah. Having a problem with my co-host, my man, Matt Bressington. Frankfurt Galaxy threw this up on their TikTok. It's a swipe. It says, tell me you don't know ball without telling me you don't know ball. Okay, interesting. Where are they going with this? Swipe it, Lucas. A photo of Matt looking professional and great right there at the Fibo. I got you. Swipe it, Lucas. And then the record, the 5-7 record that was the result of our franchise check. Now, somehow I didn't catch any strays here because I was 50% of this franchise check. And I'm guessing it's because I gave him wins, some solid wins against Madrid and against Nordic. So I did the first 6. Matt did the back half. So I'm guessing that maybe protected me. But Matt, you took a jab here from the Frankfurt Galaxy. How you feeling?
I mean, Nick, you just went silent for that last half of the sentence, but I'm assuming you want me to rant, and I'm going to rant. I've got a lot of friends on the Frankfurt Galaxy. No more. No more. I have friends on the Frankfurt Galaxy. Sandro Platzgummer, Keanu Ebanks, Toby Naylor. I've talked to you for some of you for multiple years. I played with some of you. The Galaxy have turned me against you, and the media team is gonna. I'm gonna be revengeful on them. They've changed their tone, Nick. They were making graphics
Okay.
of me and you together on the ELF Live. Me talking about how much I love their DBs. Apparently, I don't know ball though, so maybe these DBs aren't as good as I've been saying they are. Maybe all the hype I've been putting into Frankfurt Galaxy, maybe it's misguided, Nick, because I don't know ball. Obviously. So maybe they're worse.
Can you hear me now, Matt?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, man. Here's the thing. I guess you do know ball when you're saying good things about the Galaxy. When you say something negative about the Galaxy, you don't know ball. Is this what we're getting at?
Well, maybe, but if I don't know ball and I'm talking all this stuff about how much I love some of the guys like Enrico Trigoya or putting Keanu Ebanks and Steven Nielsen as one of the best duos of offensive tackle we've ever seen.
You did do that.
Maybe I'm wrong because I don't know ball. So maybe they're not as good as I've been saying. Maybe Matthew McKay won't win Comeback Player of the Year like I predicted him to because I don't know ball. So maybe.
You know what? I feel as the co-host of this show, it is my responsibility to try and mediate this relationship because Matt, you've said a lot of positive things about the Frankfurt Galaxy.
I have. That's why I was so blindsided, Nick.
You're hurt. You feel betrayed. It's like you got cheated on.
Matt, more so, I'm stuttering. I'm absolutely I'm stuttering everywhere. Honestly, I reckon I've probably given more praise to them than anyone else. Quarterback.
You have, man. You do.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that off camera all the time. You talk about how you love this roster.
Yeah.
And you know what? It just so happens, that's what happened in the franchise checks. The franchise checks, we're going to see. We're going to eat our words on some of those. Some we're going to look good. Some we're going to eat our words. So we'll see. But that's some good bulletin board material for As Seen on Social. Matt Bressington versus the Frankfurt Galaxy, at least media team, if not entire organization.
I think it devolved into entire. I'm hurt deeply by them. You know what? I didn't even like orange or purple, except the brand on my page is purple. But you know what? They're not even my favorite team in Frankfurt anymore. I've been disenfranchised with the whole club over the last couple of days.
There we go. We'll see how this plays out. I'm here to mediate. All right, let's throw up also from As Seen on Social. We got some insights here from the Fibo asking the nicknames, of some of these guys on here. Matt, what's your favorite nickname in the ELF for a player?
I actually put a bit of a poll about this the other day. Funny enough. I think my favorite personally is got to be the ice cream truck with Sven Bedenbach, obviously one of the best tackles in the league, and he's the ice cream truck. It's original. It's not like some of these other ones that just kind of have terrible nicknames. It's just so original, and I love the ice cream truck.
Okay, hold on. You can't just brush over that. Who's got a terrible nickname?
I mean, none of them come I don't mean to be that guy, but
Matt, you are positioning yourself as that guy today.
I'm gonna be that guy. Putting name and MVP is not a nickname. Glenn VP is not a nickname. Ben VP is not a nickname. They can have their own nicknames, but MVP after a name isn't a nickname.
Oh wow, he hates on the blank VP format. You're hurting a lot of star players in the league.
And Malchow as well.
Well, the thing is, those guys didn't claim that name for themselves. It was given to them. All right, so I'm with you on that. I love Dark Clark. Jadrian, Dark Clark. I don't even know how many people call him this. I also know him as Gator because he's a Florida man. Sometimes he just turns on that Florida man persona when he needs to, but at the same time, he's Dark Clark. He's precise when he needs to be. So it's going to be One Way J as well. That's going to be my favorite on here. All right, we also got some insights from some of the practices from teams. We got to see the Ryan Fire. They're looking crispy on there. It's looking nice. Really interested about the Ryan Fire, Matt.
Yeah, we talked about them on Fibo a lot. It's just one of the most interesting. I mean, you interviewed the new quarterback, Chet Jeffries.
I talked to Chad.
It's weird seeing him with number one. Me and him talked about that like just before you went live. How weird it is seeing him in number one.
Yes. I mean, even just seeing him in the Rhine Fire uniform, it's like, yo, what? That's supposed to be Jadrian. And then we got some footage from the Centurions, Matt, a team that, I mean, if Frankfurt Galaxy are ripping you for putting them at 5 and 7, sorry, you and me, the Centurions should be, I don't know, man, sending us some mean messages here because we picked them to go 0 and 12, but here we have them practicing, getting after it, getting some work done on there. So hopefully we're wrong about the Centurions. Hopefully we gave them a little bit of bulletin board material. And then the Madrid Bravos also practicing at night. That's a beautiful shot right there. I like that a lot. You got Coach Andrew Weidinger down there. It's nice and cinematic right here.
Yeah, I think that was Aaron Cruikshank there. You got Iceman. That's another great nickname, by the way. Iceman Alessandro Fernandez.
Yeah, that's a great one. So there we have it. Everyone getting into the flow of things with practice, and that's what we've got as seen on social. If you guys see anything on social media, tag #ELF Live, and Matt and I will talk about it on this show and perhaps argue about it. And we'll get into all that. So tag #ELF Live on anything that you see that you want us to bring up on here. Moving on, final segment. This is the Matt Bressington specialty, the signing center. And let's start off. We're going back to Hungary, back to the Enthroners. And Matt, you told me how to pronounce the last name of Fyodor here. How do you say it again? I forgot already.
I believe he's going to have to correct me if I'm wrong. Fyodor Chebezayov, the Hungarian, Austrian, Russian receiver. He's got a lot going on. He is a gem today. I talked about him on Fibo. Literally, I was like, he's going to come in. I don't know if they'll be able to get him in because I really thought both Austrian teams would be pushing for him, especially Vienna. He's a product of their illustrious academy system. He's big. He is 6'4", 220, and that's elite size for a receiver. He is a golden child. And honestly, me and you talked off air about how good their receiver core has become. They got Nandor Toth, who led the league in catches last year. You got Sirok, who's another good possession receiver. Now you have Fedor on the edge. That's a really nice shaping up receiver core. Elite size, elite length, great outside ability, and deep threat. He still needs development. He's not a polished receiver. He's still young. He's in his early 20s. Route running, like deep progressions and just footwork and release isn't perfect. He has all the physical gifts. He is a product of great academy, as we mentioned. He's going to be receiving a lot of attention from that coaching staff because he has such an amazingly high upside. I've been talking about Fyodor for like 6 years, since he was like under 15 in the Vienna Vikings. Like, this has been someone you look back, you search him up, you see like 3 different eras of me reporting him. I have a valuation report from him before I started using my full name as
really report. See, man, you've been on it then.
Yeah, I'm everywhere, man. I'm people are like, I don't know how you knew about him. And I'm like, it's me. Like, I know Frankfurt Galaxy disagree, obviously, but it's me.
No, Frankfurt Galaxy are not going to agree on this. So there we go. Big one for the Enthroners, and sticking with the Enthroners, our boy that we just talked to, Mike Badejo. All right, Mike's gone now, Matt. Mike's gone now. You can be honest. Give me a breakdown. You asked him to do a sort of evaluation of his game, a scouting report. Give me the Matt Bressington breakdown.
That's exactly why I asked for this. He is big, 6'3", 265 pounds, but that size allows him to play from 2 to a 9. And he said about electricity, right? I agree. He has real nice burst to close. That's one thing he's really good at. Get into the quarterback, get into the ball carrier within that 3 or 4 yards where he can just burst into him. It's a very particular skill that they need. Can mix up with his pass rush approach, right? He has a nice little rip move. He has a nice swim move. He has a nice club. He has a nice bag that's very developed because he is a North American vet. Big man strength. I don't have any combine numbers. I wish I would have asked him about combine numbers, but I forgot. I have doubts on bend. If he's come in as like a 9, maybe a 7, maybe not the most bend his knees and ankles, but I think given Hungary's tendency for interior big men, I think we're more likely to see him from like a 2 to a 5. So I don't think that bend is as important. I think that strength comes in more of a play. But I'm a big fan of Mike, and then that interview was just doubled my fandom of him as well.
I really liked him. Great energy. I think he's got the right mindset coming into the league. But we saw the Enthroners go 2 D linemen at A last year. They're doing it again. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it is something. It is something. I'm not entirely in agreement, but they've got a better coaching staff this year than they did last year, in my opinion. I do think Mike is a very talented player. Jabari is not as versatile; he's more of an edge. So this
Sure.
gives them more versatility. I do love Jabari Regan. I don't want to seem like I'm slandering him, but Mike's more versatile. He can play more positions on the defensive line. I think our DBs are better this year. I think the whole team just looks better, and maybe this is the year it pays off for the defensive line position.
Maybe. I don't know, Matt. The way you're talking right now, you're making me nervous for your Prague Lions out there in the East.
Nah, never.
All right, let's move on from the East. Let's get to the Western Division. Paris Musketeers strengthen their offense and sign wide receiver Florian LaRose. Matt, tell me about Florian LaRose.
Florian LaRose, honestly, he's been a guy that I've been a big fan of since he was at the Flash. He was a big thing, though. I'm hearing rumors of positional change. 6'3",
Oh,
230. That's that receiver 230. Apparently, he's moving into tight end. He's got very athletic frame. This would be the definition of an offensive mismatch if he can work out at tight end, because he has great hands over the middle. He is primed for superstardom. There's a reason why Paris have put some amazing reels together with Florian as the forefront, because he can be the next. I might be a little bit premature with this. I did call him last season the next Anti Mahonwu. He hasn't so far lived up to that because of his injury concerns. Hasn't broken up statistically. This year, he needs to break out statistically. That's a big thing. I'm hearing from camp, he hasn't had the best start to camp from what I'm hearing. But I need to see him step up, because this is the year he needs to elevate his ability to the superstar level that me and other people in the league think he can achieve.
Anthony Mahongu, that is some high expectations, some big shoes to fill. You really think he can be an impactful player on that level?
I think he has the potential to. He's got all the athletic ability. I mean, you look at him, he looks like a guy that should come out of a comic book. He has a similar size. He has great hands. He has not the same similar style, but he can catch over the middle and he could be a big player. But it's just these injury concerns. And Mahonwu was doing it for years before he had injury concerns. And LaRose, I think, is in his mid-20s. So he needs to step up now before it's too late. That's a big...
I was going to say, how old is he? If he's in his mid-20s, all right, it's time. You're hitting your prime right now. You're in your mid-20s. I'd give him a little bit more leeway if he was 21, 22.
Exactly.
But let's go ball out. All right. Sticking with the Paris Musketeers, Kevin Fortes has also joined the squad. Matt, you've got him here as a big frame, big French journeyman. Talk to me about Fortes.
Exactly. So he's bounced around the ELF. He's been with Hamburg. He's been with Madrid. He spent like a couple weeks in Heltavik. So he's never really had like a full home. He's been an all-star. He has been an all-star, but he's never been stable in a position. And I think Paris could be a good place for him to find that. 6'3", 215 pounds is great size for a safety. And he is more of that physical box player, good tackler, could provide some length in the nickel position as well if he's needed to. Paris has a lot of great safeties, some of which have not been announced yet, but they've got some incredibly good safeties. I do not think he has elite acceleration, so I don't think they'll be playing him as like a single high. Honestly, I doubt they'll be playing him high that much, maybe every now and then. But he is the kind of guy that you have him in a mirror, maybe in a dime set or a nickel set, and you can just out coverage people while this great defensive line goes to work.
God, dude, I'm so curious about Paris, man. I'm so curious what this team does. They have so much potential. See if they can put it all together this year under Coach Del Rio. All right, moving on to the Munich Ravens, player that I really like, Christoph Nitzelnader, the Austrian DB, returns to the Bavarian squad. Dude, this kid, I like this kid a lot. When I talk to some of the defensive coaches around the league, I mean, I know I talked to some of the surge ones, like, this guy, he is elite, and they would love to have him. Give me your breakdown on this young baller.
I absolutely love Nitz. Nitz is one of my favorite players in the league. You've summed it up well. I have an evaluation on him on my YouTube that I did a while back. I think I called it the C covers like 98% of the world and Nitzlander covers the rest, because he's just that guy. He is a top 3 EU corner.
I've lost Matt.
Oh, no. There we go. You still hear me all right? Can you hear me all right, Lucas? Yeah, okay. I'm just going to carry on.
I can't hear you, Matt. I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can't hear you.
I'm going to
All right, you know what? You read my lips. I'm going to leave real quick. I'm going to come right back.
Cool. All right, I'm going to give the evaluation report on Nitz. So Nitz is one of my favorite corners in the league. He's nasty on the line of scrimmage, extremely punchy hands, his ability to press elite receivers at a high level with that aggression, with that technique is top level. He's also a great tackler. You know, a lot of players will try and, when he comes into that press, set screen.
Yes.
He's able to fight around those screens and fight into the ball carrier, tackle them well. I believe, Nick, that he is a top 3 European corner. I've got Dion. You might put Beard. You might put Nitz. You could put some other players in there as well, but
for me, Nitz is at the top, man. Also, he's so young.
Yeah, he is. He is young, and he's athletic, very, very athletic. Some people said about him maybe moving into safety. I want to see him stick at corner because he is locked down. And I think with Munich as well, you know, they got Kentrell. He's a defensive-minded coach. He's been there for a couple of seasons now. He's elevated himself into that elite E competition. I'm super excited to see what he can do this year. He could be an all-star, like, first-team player, I think.
But he really could be, bro. I called 2 or 3 of Munich's games, especially at the end of the year last year. They're big games, and my goodness, was I impressed with him. Also, just, you know, when sometimes you see a guy, like, he'll make a tackle, and it's like, oh, he kind of barely made that tackle. He got the guy down, but he maybe got a little bit lucky just to the circumstances. This dude, the way this dude tackles is so forceful, so aggressive. It leaves no doubt. It's like, I mean, he's just an elite tackler, in my opinion. That's something that I love from a defensive player. And this guy having this mentality, a lot of being an elite tackler. Of course, there's the physical aspect of it, but the mentality, the lack of fear, just going for it. And man, this dude shoots like a rocket, and I love it. So big fan of young Nitz. So there we have it, Matt. There's our signing center. And, well, I believe that wraps up our show, Matt, our fake live ELF live show. We had some technical difficulties, man, but you and I, we battle through, don't we, man?
We're masters. You know that duo poster put up? People were saying that me and you were the #1 duo in the league. So I feel that's a cool.
Hey, there we go. #1 duo. Make sure on that next post, #1 duo, Nick Alfieri, Matt Bressington, media duo. Throw in Lucas and Max in there. All right, everyone who watched on here, appreciate it. Sorry we were not live this week. We'll try and get that back all settled for you next week. Thank you so much to Euronics for making all of this possible and putting on ELF Live, even when we're not live. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
See ya.